If you think you're having a bad day, listen to this guy. An NC State student is out tens of thousands of dollars after university police say they fell victim to a global dating agency scam.
Wow. So we're talking about the equivalent of 41,000 US dollars. WRAL's Eric Miller explains that federal officials are now involved in this local case.
This all started as a welfare check all the way back on April 10th after the student's family reported they'd been acting strangely. What police found when they got there was a type of scam that experts say is only getting more common. The biggest red flag were the bank withdrawals. According to NC State Police, a grand total of 300,000 yuan, about $41,000, transferred from the NC State student to scammers. That student telling police he'd been the victim of a dating agency scam.
I mean, it's horrible. We're seeing all types of people getting scammed.
Melanie Devoe is the director of public engagement with the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, one of half a dozen federal agencies who've been sounding the alarm about these scams for years.
These fraudsters are professionals, they're professional criminals, and they have a playbook to deal with potential victims.
Devoe says typically it starts with a text or a message on a dating app. Scammers then moving the conversation to an encrypted messaging service like WhatsApp.
And from there, it's off to the races. They develop a long-term relationship with a person, and then eventually they bring up the idea of investing in cryptocurrency.
According to data from the CFTC, these scams exploded in popularity in 2020, and numbers have steadily increased from there, costing Americans $3.5 billion last year alone.
Because it's so unexpected, right? You would never think this wrong number text could lead you to be defrauded out of your life savings, but that is actually what we're seeing happening.
NC State Police say this investigation has now been handed over to officials in China, where the student is from. We'll bring you updates as the case develops. In Raleigh, Eric Miller, WRAL News.
A lot of people would wonder how something like this could happen. Again, they emphasize that these scammers, it's a very long play. But we did want to take a closer look at just romance scams in general and how people fall for these. And what do the scammers actually tell the people to convince them in the first place? The short answer is this happens a lot, more than you would think. In fact, last year, 64,000 people reported a romance scam, and those are just the ones being reported. Now, you might be thinking, still, why so many people would fall for this sort of thing? Well, if you're curious, these are a kind of a list of what fraudsters are telling their victims. The Federal Trade Commission compiled this list of their favorite lies. It found 24% of scammers gave the excuse I or someone close to me is sick or hurt or in jail. 18% said I can teach you how to invest, or I'm in the military far away, or I need help with an important delivery, that sort of thing. There's always a lot of urgency involved. So the most obvious advice is to just not really ever send any money to people who you have only met online. It is a red flag if they ask for any form of money or cash or crypto or gift cards, that sort of thing. And while we're at it, let's run through just a few of the other things to avoid and ways you can avoid a romance scammer. If they seem too good to be true, sorry, but that is a big red flag. Scammers will steal photos of attractive or successful looking people. They'll create these fake online accounts to lure you in. Many of us learned of this on one of those MTV shows, Catfish. You can just do a reverse image search and you can see if that picture actually matches the name they've given you, or if that photo's been used, on other websites or dating apps under different names, that sort of thing. If it is a scam. If they fall in love with you without ever meeting you, that is a red flag. Stop communicating with anyone who will not meet or have a video chat in a reasonable amount of time. These are what the experts are saying. And there's just a few of the tips that we found online to help avoid scams online. It's interesting how it's all right there in front of you. Anyway, you can find these tips and how to report romance scams on our website, WRAL.com.